Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's VC Task Force Gary's Picks events for investors and startups. My name is Joel Rosenberg, Director of Business Development and Strategy for VC Task Force. VC Task Force is an organization where the venture community comes together to address critical issues, provide workshops, and other events for the benefit of the venture and entrepreneurial communities. VC Task Force provides access to an extensive ecosystem of VCs, corporate VCs, and angel investors. You may ask questions anytime during today's event, and time permitting, they will be answered live after today's interview. It is my pleasure to welcome Gary's Picks host, Gary Fowler. Gary is CEO and co-founder of GSD Venture Studios, an award-winning growth stage AI venture studio. Gary is also co-founder of the award-winning AI startup Eva.ai, as well as the investment firm DY Investments. Today, Gary will be interviewing special guest, Kaius Meskanen, CEO and founder of Choicely. Choicely's no-code app development platform offers a simple, fast, and affordable platform to build it and maintain high-quality mobile apps at a fraction of the cost and time. Choicely is used by leaders in media, sports, and entertainment, including ITV Studios, Love Island TV show apps, Eurovision, Banijay, International Judo Federation, and the IMG Miss Universe app. Prior to launching Choicely, Kaius founded LeoBlocks, an accelerated learning platform. He is the former CEO of Lifestyle Architecture Studio and was a member of the Finnish Defense Special Forces. Kaius speaks 9 languages and even won a UNESCO singing competition in the Sydney Opera House, Australia, with a singing group at the age of 13. Take it away, Gary.
No, it's great, Joel. So Kaius has a lot of talent. How in the world, Kaius, do you go from award-winning singer, 9 languages to the special forces? Now, that's a transition. I've heard a lot of things in my life, but that's something else. Now, how's that work? So how's the architecture fit in with the special forces?
They don't have much to do with each other, but you can learn a lot of things in this life. It's like I very much appreciate, doing and bringing my focus on many things, more than one. You can do it.
So now, was it hard being in the special forces?
There was a lot of tough, like 2-day tests to get there, but eventually, in my country, you have a population of 5 million. You have like 30,000 guys. We have to go. Everyone goes to army because we have a border with Russia. Out of the 30,000 guys a year, they pick 120 best to this unit, and you have to go through 2 days of tests. 1 day physical.
How many of them were 20 best?
120 out of 30,000.
Oh, I see. And so how many are left after the 120?
After the year of the first year of the training, you lose like, no one dies, but you get some injuries. So you lose maybe 10 or 15 guys.
Now, did it help you later in life? What kind of lessons did you learn?
I think it's the same attitude as in, I think in US, you guys highly value sports here. So you have special kind of arrangements for sports people who perform well because they are kind of preparing themselves for, I think, entrepreneurial life where it's, as we know, it's an endless competition.
Yeah, so you went down, and what about these 9 languages? Now, I know Finns like to speak languages. Why in the world did you learn 9 languages?
I was curious, and I found some ways to learn them fast, but average person here comes out of high school with 4 languages, which are Finnish, Swedish, English, and one, you pick one from usually German, French, or Spanish.
And then why in the world do you need to know Swedish?
Historically, Finland was part of Sweden for a long time.
Ah, I see. So that goes back. And okay, so what about the next, after the 4, which languages did you learn?
So after that, I learned Portuguese, French, Estonian, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, I'm not sure which ones I mentioned. And in high school, I included German as one of the four.
Now, which one was the hardest?
I think Russian, it's the Cyrillics and very different from European languages.
Yeah, no, I got that. Although the characters look very similar to Greek. I know when I learned the Greek alphabet, it was easier to learn Russian because of that. It's interesting. So as you're going down through and you have your journey, the architecture, you start off in architecture. What made you decide to flip out of that and go into technology?
So during my years of running an architecture company, that was fun, by the way. It's a lot of creative, interesting stuff there. Yet it's kind of project by project basis by nature, which means it's not easy to scale many parts of your work. It's rather each project is different. I always wanted to focus on something I can just focus more, build it better, and sell it 1,000 or 1,000,000 times.
And so as you're going down through that, what lessons did you learn in architecture that help you in technology?
There are many similarities, especially in the kind of creating something, presenting something, make it sellable, and closing a deal. There are a lot of similarities there. And also architecture projects, there are thousands of small details. The same amount or even more are when you're dealing with technology.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow you put them all together and make a beautiful product.
And so, how did you come up with the idea of Choicely? Where did that come from?
So,
and then tell us a little bit about it too.
Yeah. The idea came in two steps. I actually created with the other founders of Choicely first a web-based tool set of activation tools such as voting and rating and polls. And at the time we were pitching this to many clients, we were kind of offered some far larger opportunities by clients like ITV Studios, mentioning that these tools are by far the best they have seen. But as the years and the kind of time was changing and the kind of importance of app was growing, they very clearly communicated they would love to use this inside apps if we can build such a product. Very quickly, we actually figured out that we're not far from there. We could simply make first a simple framework like an app builder that's just flexible, and we can just first kind of handle this one use case and just make it flexible and handle the other use cases later.
And so, as part of this journey, how did you come up with, first of all, getting funded? Tell us a little bit about, because there are a lot of startups that watch my show here. How did you go down through and get funded? How did it work? At what point did you think about getting funded, and then how's it grown?
It's maybe the most important question. So by the time we figured out exactly what the product's gonna be, and again, my background in architecture, I think I was able to, before we actually had the product, I was at least able to present it visually and in a way people understand it. And then I went to a lot of investors to pitch it. I explained them what we're about to do. And some of them believed there is a very good market opportunity in what we're doing. Most of them at least understood the idea. So, and increasingly then we were starting to make some traction. Gary, better than most, understand that it's like the combination of things and the kind of how you present the team, how we were able to present the team and the product, the market opportunity, and the kind of increasing traction, somehow growing evidence of that this team can actually grab something in this space. It's like a few things to convince smart people who have 1,000 options where to invest.
And so what was the key? What was the key with them to getting the funding? What was, if you could say, here's are the three things that really helped us, what would you say those three things are?
I think it's presenting clearly what you do. So kind of a high-level business plan. Then also convincing people and showing them that there really is a market opportunity, that you're not just doing another product that's already there. And then that you and your team are capable of pulling this through the good times and the bad.
And then how did you go down through and show them when you're just getting started to prove that the model works? What was the leap of faith that you had to have, and what kind of investors?
Yeah, we presented everything or anything that we could as the product in process, any kind of part that we could, and the rest we presented as a beautiful PDF that was at least explaining exactly where we're heading, and we were just presenting anything that we can as a real demo.
And you did that as a PDF?
And the rest, as I did the PDF. We didn't have a team of designers.
And then how did it work? What would what kind of initial money did you raise based on just that?
First, like 200,000, and then like 600,000, and by some time, in a few steps, a few million more. Particularly in Finland, we were able to match those private investments with a government-owned fund called Business Finland. They match not automatically, but with good business plans and very good presentations and hard equity investments. Some of the projects that they believe in, they match with their funding.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so, just another question. There's an event called Slush. Tell everybody about what Slush is, because I know there's a lot of visibility for Slush all over the world, but tell us a little bit about Slush and how do they really help the entrepreneurs?
Slush is a nice event. It's once a year. I think it's like late November, early December every year. And it's like 2 days, though there are some pre-events before those 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's like in a big hall. It's for startups, for tech investors. There's some media, a lot of interesting people, great speakers. It has grown to quite a big event, one of the largest in Europe. In that scene, like 20,000 people altogether. It's facilitated really well. Everyone I talk with from anywhere, most of them give a very good feedback about the event.
And so what are the investors? Is it for investors or just the startups, or the combination of all the above?
Combination of both. And then there's the matchmaking, a lot of a lot of like closed deals. They always have like good metrics and very good media around it. And also from our perspective, it's like a always good moment for a few days to meet a lot of people face to face in Helsinki who wouldn't come here too often.
Oh, I love Helsinki. It's a great place, by the way. A lot of nice people. So how did you go down through? You've got the Miss Universe pageant. You've got the Arsenal. You've got a lot of different customers out there. How in the world did you get to the Miss Universe pageant? How did that work?
I'll give the short version. I went to one of their finals, December 2018. I found my way to the right place, and I had a.
You were smiling there. You said you found your way. Where did you get to go?
I had like a tablet, something like this. It's not the same one. So
were you pretending you're the press?
Yeah, I just found my way in, and then I pitched the like board of Miss Universe. I showed them what we do with some of the national pageants so far. I explained them what we can do for them, and they liked what they saw. There was a comment something like, well, this looks better than our shit. And it
Well, that's a good
resulted
sign, right?
it resulted in a meeting uh, the following day, and it also resulted in a cooperation that started 1 year after when they had the next final.
So tell us a little bit about it. How did you make a decision to go to that person? How did you point out who that person is? Did you directly look for one person, or how was it? How was it? So for these startups who are out there, how do you find the person that can make a decision?
Nowadays, I would start in places like LinkedIn, find the person, contact the person through any channel that works. We all know that decision makers are usually busy. They may not, even read your message through email, through whatever chat. So I guess everything is about getting attention with a very short message, maybe with a visual, like one picture, one line that explains why a busy person would want to, for example, meet you for 1 hour or 30 minutes.
No, that's interesting. And so who do you meet? What level do you call on?
Like usually,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Is it a low level, or is it a mid-level manager, or high level?
okay, kind of depends on the size of the company. So it's a small one, I would contact CEO. If it's a large one, I would, in context of Choicely, I would find I would try to contact the head of digital or head of or CTO or certain kind of decision makers. But CEO of a very, very large company might not care about what kind of apps they do. So it might be, in our case, I need to find the right kind of person.
And how much due diligence do you do in advance before you contact that person?
If it's a high priority, let's say a prospect, I could spend 15 to 30 minutes doing that. And if it's more like, sometimes you more like create lists and make a more general message. We all know what are the pros and cons in both.
So when you go into the high level, how do you do the sale to the high level executive? What's the way? Do you sell value? Do you sell the ROI? What do you sell them?
In case of Choicely, we can kind of simplify our message into something like that our company is making high quality apps for the fraction of the price. We got awesome, we're trusted by awesome companies with some nice logos, and we can.
How important is that, Kaius, for the references to show them?
It's very important. It kind of cuts 1 or 2 meetings off because there might be some, otherwise there could be some, let's say, someone being interested but unsure if we can deliver. So he might, get his tech people to check it out if we can handle it. But if you see the right kind of logos and examples, you can trust this brand more.
You're right. It's all about credibility, right? So the credibility is really important. And then going down through in the beginning, when you start a company, you're not sure who to call. But I will say this, calling to the top, finding the highest level person there, selling to it is really important. The reason was because when you go to that person, it's hard for somebody beneath him or her to say no, that they're not going to talk to you because they're concerned about what kind of relationship we would have with that CEO, and they don't want to have any challenges. So, but if you go from the bottom up, it's called there's a green stick effect, which means that they may or may not see you because there's no compelling reason and they don't want to add additional time to a project, right? So they're not looking to do that. So you got to find those progressive folks that can really help. So you did that with Miss Universe. How in the world did you do the Eurovision pageant? What are you? You're a singer. Did you go into a karaoke bar and start singing, or what did you do?
No, I contacted them and I explained what we do. They expressed some interest. We had a video call meeting, um, and that's some while ago. But let's say 6 or 8 months after, I reapproached them. I mean, they were showing very positive signals, but I reapproached them. I presented them our latest, newest features and new, very relevant success stories that are from their perspective very relevant.
Where do you
And
find those success stories?
um, some of them are. This particular one is not public, but I asked the permission to show it to them.
Oh, that's great. And how much better does that make it when you show them those kind of things? How much easier
Well,
is it to sell?
in this case, they their level of interest rose enough, so we agreed on a face-to-face meeting in Switzerland, and that was where they learned much more about us and our product. They were quite convinced, but of course there was more steps to be done on the tech side, and then they also contacted some of our largest clients, and um, because of we take care of our clients very well, we make sure they prosper. Eventually, the feedback was very positive from them as well.
And so going out, like, who are the typical customers you have? What roles do they have in those companies?
Well, a lot of our customers are in the space of media, sports, and entertainment or events. Some, let's say, brands many may recognize would be ITV Studios and Love Island TV shows.
Now, how was
Also,
that this Love Island thing? What is that all about? I've never watched it. You're
well,
smiling, you're laughing. Is it funny? Is it a funny
it's
show?
I think it's very entertaining. It's about young people meeting each other, falling in love, doing all kinds of funny things. Like they have every day some activities that
Mhm.
kind of make the show. And then there is a voting in each, or not each, like there's episode every day, and a couple of times a week there is a voting where the viewers can vote who's gonna stay or drop out from the villa. And it brings a lot of drama, and then you kind of go from there. And then the winners, the last pair, they win like a money prize.
And then was it interesting? Do you get involved with the characters in the shows so you can understand what's happening? How's that work? I
No,
don't mean involved, but I mean, do you go to the sites and do you talk to folks? How do you get like develop those personal relationships? Do you need to have those or what, what is your role?
well, our role is for the most part tech provider, but we also train the producer teams and we provide them support from our team, especially.
What do you train them on?
It's like a 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours of training. So they use the Choice Studio where it's like a real-time management tool for the apps. You can do anything and it appears in real time in the apps. So we train them and we support them so that they can use all the functionalities, send all the push messages, and then especially they might just need someone to kind of be available when you have these high volume votes that kind of determine what's going to happen next in the show. So we have a person kind of available in those moments for them.
And then that must be interesting though. So what about the Miss Universe pageant? How in the world did you get into that? And, in terms of, do you have to go down and, or do you have to be active with the Miss Universe pageant, or is it the same kind of thing where you train the producers?
It's same kind of thing. In case of Miss Universe, it's we're dealing with millions of people in the app from 200 plus countries, a lot of high volume kind of traffic peaks. And we found some interesting ways to work together. many ways to kind of improve the app and the user experience and how people find the app and the usage itself. And through that, all the metrics that are interesting. In case of Miss Universe, we always send a few persons for 1 or 2 weeks in their final to work with the digital team of Miss Universe.
Does it help?
It helps.
Yeah. How much more engagement do companies have when they use Choicely? Has it changed? Have you seen companies that don't have an app and then they use Choicely? What kind of engagement just in general? Is it 2x or 3x or 1.5x? What is it?
We recently, for example, a very recent case there for Eurovision is the largest music competition in the world. And they also have in Europe and in Australia, some places they have like national competitions where the winner goes to Eurovision. So for example, we just handled the voting in Czech Republic, and we did like a 2x increase from what they did before. We did the national voting with the app in Iceland as well, and we did another all-time high with all the metrics. And
where was that, in Iceland?
In Iceland, an island of 350.
How was it? Who was in Iceland? Was that the Miss Universe pageant?
No, that was a national voting, an app for Eurovision, like the singer who goes to Eurovision.
That must have been interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then with Miss Universe, we did the largest fan vote in their history. And by their words, we were the first platform that never crashed with their traffic peaks.
Wow, that's amazing. So what's the future look like, Kaius? What does the future of Choice look like? Where do you see it going?
We're going directly towards automation, towards better use of AI and such things. So during this year, we're finalizing the automation of Choicely, so it will work as easy as WordPress for websites. Then Choicely will be as easy to build and launch mobile apps without any need for like our support, which is always, of course, available. Then the AI part will be helpful for even easier building of apps and managing of them, and then using different providers like Google, they have some great stuff, to easily build AI chats and then launch them in your mobile apps. So we have some very interesting cooperation going on there with Google.
So, to wrap it up, we're coming at the top of the show. Closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you?
Well, thanks everyone for watching. First of all, contacting and learning more about Choicely, you can go to choicely.com, and you can reach out for me, Kaius Meskanen, in LinkedIn. I always read the messages, and I've tried to find the time to answer.
Thanks, Kai. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. And thanks to everyone that viewed the show today for joining. Joel?
Great show, great interview. Thank you, Kaius. Really interesting company, Choicely. I think our viewers are really going to benefit from the story as you shared it today. Gary, thank you for another great event, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody back here in 2 weeks. Until then, stay well and take care, and we'll see you then.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Joel. Thanks, June. Bye-bye.